Hey, what's going on YouTube? Welcome to Post Cologne. Today we're going to be unboxing 3 Middle Eastern fragrances, including Lattafa's 24 Carat White Gold. So let's jump into it. Alright, so it's time for another unboxing and first impressions video of 3 new Middle Eastern fragrances that I recently got in from a haul from Perfumes Online. I'm going to have links down in the description if you decide you want to check any of these out. Also have a coupon code. Save yourself $5 off your first purchase at Perfumes Online if you decide you want to shop with them. Really excited about this one. I got a Rasasi, I got a Swiss Arabian, and I got the Lattafa 24 Carat White Gold, one I've been wanting to check out for a while. So let's quit screwing around. Let's get into it. All right, so first up, we're moving to the house of Swiss Arabian, and it's a Swiss Arabian Shock. Now you can scoop this sucker up for $23 at Perfumes Online, and one of you has been absolutely relentless asking me to check this one out, do a first impression, do a review on it, so I have it now. I hope you're watching because you left about 10 comments, and if you don't watch this video, it's gonna be really disappointing. So let's dig into this, see what we got. All right, so there we have the box presentation for Swiss Arabian Shock. It's got kind of a cool design. It's got some kind of like some glossy sort of patterns here. It's kind of like wisps of smoke almost, but a little bit geometrical. Same thing with on the back right there. Where are the necessaries? Oh, the necessaries are all on the bottom there. But overall, pretty straightforward cardboard box, but I do kind of like that kind of glossy finish, but let's see what the bottle looks like. All right, so there we have the bottle presentation for Swiss Arabian Shock. This is kind of following a similar line of the Swiss Arabian. I'm not even sure if it has a name to it, but like the Mutamayez. Where is Mutamayez? This guy. Same style of bottle, and there's like Raki and a couple other ones that are very similar style. So nothing to it. Kind of like a teardrop shape to this. Got kind of a bit of an odd shape to the bottle there, but overall pretty straightforward. Glass bottle. Cap on this is a pretty lightweight, cheap plastic on that. And the atomizer on this. Oh, I had the same problem with Mutamayez. I have to like twist this a handful of times. Bear with me, folks. It's not working. Oh, there we go, finally. I shut the camera off for like 3 minutes to try and get this thing working. I had to twist the nozzle like for 3 minutes before this actually started to work here, but it's working now. We're good to go. A little worried for a second there. Good distribution, nice long puffs. But what does this smell like? Cap doesn't fit on this very well. There we go. All right, so like right off the opening, smelling that in the air right now, it's very nice. It's a very masculine style of fragrance. It's got this kind of sweet, fruity pineapple that's in the air, but it's also got this kind of woody, slightly smoky sort of accord going on right now. So it's a mix of that sweet fruit as well as that kind of smoky woods right now in the air. So quite nice. It's got this masculine appeal to it with that kind of that sweetness that's in the air. So let's get this on paper. Let's see what we're dealing with. Yeah, so right out the gate here on paper, this has got a very nice zesty style of citrus opening. A little bit of pineapple. There's definitely some bergamot in there. A little bit of a black currant kind of note going through, but there is this kind of woodiness to it, like this birch that's coming through in the mid. So it's a very kind of zesty, citrusy, has this sweetness, has those woody notes to it, but the woody notes is like that kind of smoky birch going on. Not overly smoky, but it's just got kind of a wisp of smoke going through that wood accord, mixing with those top notes. This is very nice opening to this. As this is opening up a little bit more, there's this ambroxan coming from the base that's adding some sweetness, but it's also kind of elevating that citrus a little bit. So the citruses are getting a little bit more lively. That birch is still there, but the citrus is really starting to come alive, and it's getting that added sweetness from the ambroxan. A little bit of a push, a little bit of kind of zing that's coming through with that bergamot and that pineapple right now. Really nice citrus. The more that I'm letting this kind of settle and open up, the better this citrus note get. And the bergamot, I was figuring this was going to be a lot more pineapple forward, but the bergamot so far off paper is really sharing the stage with that pineapple. So it is kind of a nice dance. So you really get that kind of tart bergamot that comes through. Hint of woods, patchouli's coming forward, a little bit of musk coming through the bait, and then ambroxan, adding that sweetness to it. Every time I say ambroxan, I do this because it's like lifting and elevating that citrus note. So let's skip to the dry down and see how this kind of comes together, how it unfolds. But so far, I'm pretty impressed with this. All right, so we were back with the dry down of Swiss Arabian Shock. It's been just over an hour. I've let this settle down, do its thing. This has changed a little bit. That pineapple note that was in the beginning, had more of kind of that fresh cut pineapple kind of vibe, that juiciness, that kind of fruit sweetness to it, paired with that bergamot. That bergamot's really kind of settled into the background. It still adds a bit of tartness, but the pineapple has got this really nice kind of smokiness that's kind of come through with it. That patchouli's come forward quite a bit. It's still got that woody accord. That black currant still kind of playing in there, and the ambroxan is still adding like a little bit more added sweetness to it. But really the kind of the star right now is that smoky pineapple, that wood accord, and that patchouli that's coming through. Now, I know you are all thinking right now, you hear pineapple and black currant and birch, and you're thinking this is an Aventus clone, but this is kind of like a weird twist. This has kind of got like, that's like pineapple-y kind of Carat El Fursan with the woody notes, or like even the Armaf Italian Nero sort of vibe going on to it with the patchouli, the pineapple, those woody accords. But it also has like a little bit of that kind of Aventus-y DNA, like the Club de Nuit Intense Man sort of thing going on. It's like a pairing of those in between with like an added sweetness that's not from the pineapple with that ambroxan coming through. So it's a very unique twist. It's like, again, it'd be like layering almost like Carat El Fursan, Club de Nuit Intense Man with something with a little bit more ambroxan sweetness into it. So it does do its own thing. I just want to clear that up for everybody, that as soon as they hear pineapple, they're just like, oh, it's another Aventus clone. It is different. Like there's hints of it there. There's a twist on 2 or 3 different fragrances, and it does its own thing. I'm really enjoying this. I'm definitely going to do a full review on this one. I'm quite pleasantly surprised with this one. So going to get this on skin, give it a full wearing, test it out, and get back to you on this. But overall, for 23 bucks, I think this is a good pickup so far, pending performance. So that's Swiss Arabian Shock. All right, up next, we're going to the house of Rasasi, and it's Rasasi Ood El Misk. Now I grabbed this bad boy for $20 at Perfumes Online, and I don't know anything about this one. I don't think I've ever actually heard anybody talk about this one. The note breakdown looks like this is gonna be like a nice summer kind of freshy style of fragrance, but perhaps maybe a little bit of a twist. So I don't know, let's just bust into this, find out. All right, so there we have the box presentation for Rasasi's Oud El Misk. Typical cardboard box. It does have this kind of gold band around it. It does have these like little bits on it right there. I'm not sure what that's all about. This feels like it should be like a slide off, but it's not. This cover on there stays right there. All the necessaries on the back, but it's so shimmery the camera can't pick it up. But you know, overall, straightforward cardboard box. Let's see what the bottle looks like. All right, so there we have the bottle presentation for Rasasi's Oud El Misk. It's actually kind of a nice bottle. It's got this kind of frosted glass to it, a decent thick glass to this, and they got this nice kind of gold cap to this one. So this is kind of a nice, sleek, elegant, very kind of Middle Eastern sort of vibe going on to this with the frosted glass and the gold. But overall, it's a nice bottle. I do like this. Cap on this is really lightweight though. This is like, I could definitely, even if I wasn't super powerful, I could crush this with my hand pretty easy. So a very, very cheap cap on this. And the atomizer takes a few pumps. Oh, I hope that's not it. There we go. Atomizer could use some work. It'll get the job done, but not overly impressed to be honest. But what does this smell like? So right out the gate, this has caught me a little bit off guard. I was expecting this, again, to be kind of a citrus forward, sort of summer freshy style of fragrance, which it is, but it has like this green note that moves into it. So it was like grapefruit and bergamot, but this like gallivanum that has this kind of like spiciness and these green facets to it. So this is a very kind of mature style of like citrus forward fragrance, like a little bit of sweet, kind of sour green that's mixed in there. Quite interesting. This has definitely got like a masculine lean to this right out the jump. Almost kind of an old school vibe, but let's dive into this a little bit more, see what we're dealing with. Yeah, so right out the gate, this has a really nice kind of sour, sort of green bitter, but also sweet style of citrus and kind of green notes moving in there. And it's got an aromatic nature to it as well. So like the citruses and the aromatics are kind of playing together, making this light, but the green notes are almost kind of pulling it down. There's like an interesting kind of dance happening right here where it's like some very kind of heavy, spicy green notes that are mixing with these kind of light aromatics and these, you know, bergamot and grapefruit style of citruses. Very, very interesting. It's like, it's a unique fragrance so far. It almost has a bit of a saltiness to it at the same point. So like a sweet, salty with that sour bitterness kind of mixed in. all kind of very citrus forward, those greens, and then there's a little bit of woods that are starting to poke through right now, like a vetiver, bit of a light cedar that's kind of coming through, but it does have that kind of saltiness that's poking through. This is like a lemonade sitting on like a wooden like plank in the summertime or something like that. It just has this light woods, it has this kind of uplifting sort of aromatic nature to it, and it has this kind of like sour lemonade sort of vibe going on with like just a dash of sugar. And more wood starting to kind of push through. A very, like I said, masculine. This does have a bit of an old school vibe to it. So this isn't kind of your playful summer, you know, bubblegummy, sweet style of freshy fragrance. This definitely kind of has like a bit of an old school, older gentleman sort of vibe going on right now. Really quite nice though. I am enjoying this. I'm interested to see how this is going to dry down. So let's skip to the dry down, see what we're dealing with. All right, so we're back with the dry down of Rasasi Ood El Misk. It's been just over an hour. Let this settle down, do its own thing. And this has changed a little bit from that initial opening. It was very crisp, very bright, aromatic with that kind of green facets that were working in there. But in the dry down, a lot more of the woods have come through. They're very kind of light style of woods, kind of a little bit airy. You got this kind of cedar that's in there. Has a kind of a lightness to it, a little bit of spice. There is some vetiver poking through. The sandalwood in this is coming through, but it's not strong. It doesn't give it kind of the creamy sandalwood that you're thinking of, but it does have a bit of a smoothness to it as well. The citruses are still there, but they're kind of like around the edges, kind of giving it that citrus vibe. So that grapefruit's still kind of lingering. There's a little bit of kind of that sourness from the bergamot, but it is kind of tucked in the background now behind the woods, and it's got a little bit more of a kind of a green nature, and a little bit more sweetness is coming through. So it's like almost like a sweet patchouli with that kind of green earthiness with those woods mixed in. So a lot sweeter and a lot woodier in the dry down versus that kind of crisp, citrusy, aromatic nature that was in the opening. It does have a very mature vibe going to it. So like you think kind of those citrus, freshy style of fragrances, you think very bright, very playful, kind of flirty style of summer fragrances. This has got more kind of a seriousness to it, like a little bit more of kind of a mature man, you know, a little bit of an older gentleman sort of vibe going on to it. But it is enjoyable. This is kind of a TBD in terms of like, if I like it, I'm not sure if I'm gonna love this one necessarily, but I'm gonna get this on skin, give it a try, see how it kind of does on my skin, how it performs. Probably do a full review on this because we are coming up to the spring and summer, and this definitely has that spring summer vibe to it. So I'm gonna test that out, get back to you guys, let you know. That's Rasasi Ood El Misk. All right, last and hopefully not least, we have Lattafa's 24 Carat White Gold. Now I scooped this bad boy up for $21, and I have scrolled past this one. I can't even tell you how many times on various discounters. I've seen it, I haven't heard much or anything about this fragrance whatsoever. A couple of you have suggested I pick it up. Shout out to Jeff, I know you're out there and you were really wanting me to check this one out. So I did, I grabbed it. Quite curious to see what this is. The note breakdown seems like something I'd like. It could be a good kind of spring summer freshie, so let's find out, shall we? All right, so there we have the box presentation for Lattafa's 24 Carat White Gold. It is like the bottle's heavy, so this is kind of hard to hold because it's very stubby box, but it's got some nice kind of little kicks to it. It has these kind of like metal corners on like a fairly thick cardboard box. Has right there, says fine gold. Kind of an interesting box. Nothing like too crazy about it, but it's just like these little added pieces to it kind of give it a nice little added pizzazz. All the necessaries on the bottom is a slide off top like so. Sitting in, you know, a typical kind of padded podium there. And here we have the bottle for 24 Carat White Gold. So just kind of a typical cube shape here, but it's got these kind of different little pieces in it that are in black. Has 999.9 for some reason there. Oh, I guess that's because of silver grading or something. I get it now. Cap on this is, it's a thick, hard, kind of, you know, acrylic style of plastic to it. Clear plastic. Interesting kind of top to it. Has a circular top on here. And the atomizer on this. Ooh. That's a great atomizer. That goes pretty far. Nice wide puffs on this. So pretty impressed with the atomizer. What does this smell like? So right out the gate, just smelling this in the air right now, this does have a very kind of citrus, very like floral sort of element going on to it, very aromatic, and it has like this fresh spiciness that's in the air. It's got kind of like a barbershop twist, like more of kind of a floral style of barbershop, but it's still got that masculine edge to it. So quite enjoyable. A little bit of an old school vibe with this one as well in the air, but let's get this on paper, see what we're dealing with. Yeah, so right off the jump, off paper, this is very citrus forward and very kind of fresh spicy forward. It's got like a bergamot, so it's got that kind of tart citrus nature to it. It's got this pink pepper in there, so it's a little bit of a nose tickling kind of fresh spicy right now. That's just really kind of dancing along with that bergamot. So again, kind of a typical bergamot pink pepper style of opening. But it does have these aromatics that are kind of playing in there. So there's like almost kind of like a little bit of like maybe a sweet lavender that's mixed in there, like a touch of nutmeg, a little bit of geranium that's kind of in there. So this does have something like a clean sort of aromatic nature to it. Little hints of sweetness coming maybe from that pink pepper spice, that fresh spice from the pink pepper. Has that kind of bergamot tartness to it as well. And the white florals are really sitting back. In the air, I could smell the florals a lot heavier just from an initial blast in the air, but off paper, like off the opening here, the white florals are sitting a little further behind those citruses and that fresh spicy aromatics. But really nice opening to this. This is quite nice. Very crisp, fresh, invigorating style of opening at this moment. As this is beginning to open up a little bit more, I am getting some tonka and some vetiver that's coming in from the base. Apparently there's some agarwood in here, like a little bit of oud that's supposed to be here. I'm not picking up on any like distinct oudy sort of vibe going on. There might be like a little bit of a woody oud that's way in the background, but it's mostly like a tonka that's coming through, a little bit of the vetiver, it's giving it a little bit of a woody base. So this is getting a bit more of kind of like that woody, kind of almost powdery, dry style of foundation to it. But those citruses, those aromatics are still sitting right on top of that, giving it that kind of clean nature, but it is starting to kind of transition a little bit away from that fresh spiciness and more into kind of the woody aromatics right now. Very nice fragrance. I'm enjoying this so far. It's really kind of changed in this initial, like maybe a few minutes from that opening to this kind of mid right now. So let's skip to the dry down, see what we're dealing with. All right, so we're back with the dry down of Lattafa's 24 Carat White Gold. Been just over an hour. Let this settle down, do its own thing. Changed a little bit, but it hasn't changed a whole lot from that opening into this dry down. The citruses have faded out, which is to be expected. A lot of citrus notes kind of die out fairly quick. So those have kind of sat in the background a little bit, and it's given more of a stage to those aromatic notes. So the lavender, the geranium, as well as those kind of fresh spicy notes of the nutmeg and the pink pepper, those have kind of come out a little bit more. You get a very nice kind of aromatic, clean laundry sort of vibe going on to it, but it also has this kind of like lemongrassy sort of feel, a little bit of a woodiness to it from that vetiver that's in the base. There is no oud in this that I can pick up. It is one of the notes listed, but I really can't pick up the oud. If it is there, it's more like a really woody kind of centicore that might be mixing in with the vetiver and I can't detect it. And the tonka that's in there, it does add an additional sweetness to it. Gives it almost kind of like a little bit of like an ambery sort of texture to it, like a little bit of a powderiness to it that kind of like accentuates that aromatic nature. And there's like a bit of a floral that's kind of like around the edges, kind of blurring and softening those edges of the aromatics and that kind of a little bit of a sharp style of vetiver. Overall, it's just a nice, clean, fresh style of mass appeal, kind of dumb reach style of fragrance. So I do quite like this. This has a very kind of spring, summery vibe going on to it. More so the spring, it just kind of has, again, that kind of fresh laundry, kind of that fresh breeziness, has that kind of masculine wood base to it, but those aromatic notes and that fresh spiciness with that touch of sweetness in there just gives us a really kind of spring sort of vibe. I think pending performance, this is going to be a really good fragrance, and I think this might be a bit of a hidden gem that no one's really talking about. So I'm going to get this on skin, see how it performs, see how it kind of reacts different. Obviously off paper versus on skin is going to be a whole different experience. So I'm going to get this on skin, get back to you guys, do a full review. But so far for $21, quite pleased this is in my collection. I think this is a great pickup so far. So that's Lattafa's 24 Carat White Gold. All right, so there you have it. That's 3 Middle Eastern fragrances unboxed. My first impressions, the whole shebang. I think I went 3 for 3 on this one. I definitely like that shock. I think that was kind of a bit of a surprise. It had an interesting scent profile to it. It has that kind of twist between a couple different fragrances, so eager to get that one on skin. Definitely like that Lattafa 24 Carat White Gold. I think that's going to be kind of a great dumb reach spring fragrance. Nice, fresh, clean laundry, a little bit of woods, a little bit of spice mixed in there. Really enjoyed that one. The Rasasi, we'll wait and see. That does have a bit of a mature vibe to it. I'm not sure if that's going to be a love or if it's just going to be a like, but again, I paid between $20 and $23 for these fragrances, so I think I definitely got my money's worth. Pending performance, we'll see how those go. I think these are all going to be kind of average performers. They didn't seem to be leaping off the paper, but time will tell. You're going to have to wait and see because I'm going to do full reviews on all 3 of these very, very soon, so you're gonna have to like and subscribe so you don't miss those. And I wanna hear from you guys. What are some Middle Eastern fragrances for the spring and summer that I need to be checking out so I can get another haul in here and I can do another video for you guys? Comment down below. I love hearing from you guys. I love getting your hidden gems, different recommendations, scent profiles, different tastes, all that jazz. Appreciate you. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see y'all next time.